Joe Burrow has returned to practice. We'll talk about that, the preseason game. We'll talk about the battle at left guard and much more coming up next on the Cincinnati podcast.
Yes. Hello, world. We got a special show as always. TJ Houshmandzada, Jimmy Chase, Coach Jimmy Burrow.
How do you balance being a professional athlete and family obligation?
Need your top 5 Bengals of all time.
All time?
Yeah.
Shock the world.
Welcome to the Cincinnati podcast. I am your host, Ace Boogie. He is my co-host, Zim. Zim, say what's up.
What it do, baby? We back, and I'm better than ever. I feel good. Me and Ace was just getting our health on. We're trying to better ourselves so we can look handsome on camera for you people. We're doing our thing out here, but I'm really excited about it. I think we got a lot of good stuff. We got a camp battle that's going crazy. And I already saw a comment in here already. So they understand what's going on, man. Hey, iron sharpens iron, and we will not leave any stone unturned.
For sure. Like Zim said, we got a lot to talk about. It's been a lot since we seen you guys last Thursday. And if you haven't watched us last Thursday, or if you're watching this live, please be sure to hit that subscribe button, turn those notifications on, tap in with us, because we're going to be bringing you guys all kind of camp coverage from a Bengals standpoint. And if you guys watched us when we were at Cincy Jungle and did the recaps after the game, please be sure to tap in with us here, because we'll definitely be doing those over here as well. But we got a lot planned for today's show. We are going to talk about several items. The first one, we're going to get into the recap. The Bengals took on the Cardinals, so we'll talk about that, what our thoughts were from that recap, since you guys haven't heard from us since Thursday. Then we'll talk about that battle at left guard. That was the big thing after that game, was the left guard position. So we'll talk about Jackson Carman. We'll talk about Cordelle Volson. What do we think that looks like going forward? Also, Joe Burrow returned to camp, so we'll talk about that. And then today, as we're recording this, there was actually a new depth chart that was released. So we will get into that next, coming up on the Cincinnati podcast. All right, man. It wasn't really a big game for the Bengals because all of our starters were out, right? But there were some exciting things that we could take away from the Bengals preseason matchup against the Arizona Cardinals. Starting off with you, Zim, or I'll start off with myself for things that I saw that came out of this game. Dax Hill looked amazing. I think that was something that everyone could agree with. That was something that everyone was looking forward to in this game. Cam Taylor-Britt was actually a scratch from this game because he ended up having an injury, so we didn't get to see him. However, we did get to see some other guys. We only saw Joseph Osai for 2 snaps, but our boy Jeff Gunter went out there and made his presence known. Zach Carter was a guy that stuck out to me. Just overall, for me, I was glad that we kind of had it set up like this, because it kind of let us see what the second, third, and even fourth teams for the Bengals look like. There were a lot of positions that were actually kind of under the radar battles when you talk about Kevin Huber versus Drew Chrisman with that. So I was kind of paying attention to that. We talk about the RB2 with our boy Chris Evans out there showing out, really took off in this game. You talk about the other matchups where you look at the receiver position. You talk about Trent Taylor, Trenton Irwin, our man Pryor was out there doing his thing. So there's a lot of under the radar battles. Kick return, another one. You even talk about the safety position. What were your thoughts like walking away from that game?
Man, I thought the game went, I don't really pay attention to preseason scores. I don't know if that's a bad thing or a good thing or whatever. We're looking at like, how is the cream going to rise to the top? Who's out there performing at the level that you thought that they should, and who isn't? And I thought that Chris Evans and Dax Hill, and I'm going to talk about Cordell in a second, but Dax Hill, the least talked about first round pick in Bengals history, I felt like showed splashes all over that game and how they utilized them in the slot, whether it was at safety position or even on the outside. They used them all over the field. And then you see Jesse Bates, in the background, at the game and all this stuff like that. That's another thing that's going on. You like, whoa, this thing is heating up. And then I'm watching all my ops like, this is a battle of attrition. I'm watching the injuries to these other teams. I'm watching all these different things. And I'm like, man, the Bengals are in a really good spot based off of what I've seen from this game. One of the bigger questions was the fourth guy, on this depth chart for wide receiver. How about if I told you maybe he doesn't make the roster or maybe he goes to the practice squad? I think he might not make it there now after a performance like that. But Kendrick Pryor had the second best graded game in PFF. All over the whole entire NFL, had 90 yards, a touchdown, and was balling. Like, I know that Plitt came in later, and that's the hometown kid. He went 6 for 6. I think it was against Scrubs. But at the same time, I think it's, I get that when people frame it up like, who did you go against? That's a real legitimate thing. But the other part that people don't pay attention to is like, how did this guy catch it? Like, I think George Pickens, we could talk trash all we want. That was a beautiful catch in that Pittsburgh game, toe tap in the back of the end zone. It doesn't matter who it's against, right? That's how I look at the game of football in preseason. I'm looking at Kendrick Pryor, and I'm like, I don't care who that's against. These are all contested passes. Bro wasn't scared of the moment, didn't make a mistake, one-handed catches, touchdown catches. He balled out. But like I said, I go back to Daxton Hill too, man. I just thought like whether it was a pass breakup, whether it was the near interception, the utilization of him, all these different things, I thought he went crazy. And then the final person I want to go to is that I feel so comfortable. How about if I told you the Bengals can just get 30 yards every single drive with the best skill positions in all of football, and guess what? They'll always get points. Isn't that a wow? Am I the only one that feels like that we just watch purple people just steal points for us for years, and it's like maybe it just crossed. Like you were the only one I remember that didn't think that taking the kicker that high was a big deal. I remember I pushed back a little bit, and I was like 5th, 6th round because kickers but I never knew that this guy was a weapon like that, and it makes sense when you look at Justin Tucker and you're like, bro. This dude is literally giving them 9 points like every game just by getting 20, 30 yards. And I'm looking at our skill positions. Now, Joe Burrow, I don't know if y'all seen the mic up from the Super Bowl. Even when Joe Burrow got like 20, 30 yards in some of those drives, Zach's in the headset. He's at like the 50. And he's like, yeah, you're in field goal range. And it drastically changes how Joe Burrow even plays the game of football. As soon as he hears that, he's like, oh, I'm going to take a shot. Oh, I'm gonna do this, and it changes everything. And somebody said Steph Curry. I was about to say it's Steph McPherson then just steps up and he pulls up for 3 and he hitting everything, and it's all clean. 50, 60 yard dingers just going crazy. So I just appreciate that. I have a new love for me and you. I was talking to you this morning. I said, man, that dog in me is coming out about this offensive line talk. But that dog in my leg is coming out every time McPherson come out. I'm just like, bro, it's money. And then you talk about Justin Tucker. We get on them. We be like, bro, they think Justin Tucker is like a god. I'm starting to feel like, where's the statue for Evan McPherson? Because the dude he can't miss, and it's so crazy like what he does to a game, bro.
No, I'm with you, especially on McPherson. It's funny because I was just looking and seeing some of the fantasy rankings that came out. They've got him ranked 2nd after Justin Tucker. And Raven jumped in my DM this past weekend talking about, like, why do you guys talk about McPherson and all of this? And he was like, he's not better than Boswell. I'm like, look, bro, I'm going to tell you right now. You might be able to have Justin Tucker or whatever. Like, you can have him at the top, but McPherson is right there. And I'm like, Boswell and none of these other guys have ever went and tied Adam Vinatieri's postseason record or any of that. Like, for my buck, I'm definitely taking Evan McPherson. He's younger. His leg is ridiculous. Not to say that Justin Tucker's leg isn't, but to me, it's like those two are at the top, and then there's everybody else, at least for me. And I'm not like a kicker savant or anything like that, but I'm just going based off of what we've seen. And it was crazy because I looked at ESPN's rankings today for fantasy, and they had McPherson as number 2 right after that. So,
man, look, whoever told you that, let me just show y'all how wide the gap is. Evan McPherson had 12 field goals over 50-plus yards, right? The closest person had 8. And Boswell and them was all down there. Justin Tucker only had 6 or 7, I believe. Someone could correct me. but 6 or 7 over 50. And that's not to say that Justin Tucker isn't the GOAT, but Evan McPherson, 100%. And that's just regular season. Then we go to the playoffs. Bro was like, don't get me started on it. Like, that kicker thing, I feel like we just went through kicker hell for a whole decade or two, outside of Shane Graham or something like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I never really liked any of them dudes. True. And then to come out to now, I'm just like, bro, this dude, all I need is 30 yards. If you give me the ball at the 20, 25 yards, I get 30 yards, I'm getting 3 points. Like, not only you got to stop me from doing that, and you got to stop the Migos, and you got to stop Hayden Hurst mixing all these dudes, Chris Evans. And then at the end of the day, you could do all of that. I could get 30 yards, and I'm still putting points on the board. They were the most dangerous team in the NFL. It's not even close.
Not even close. I completely agree with you. So we talked about some of the positives. Let's talk about some of the negatives because you kind of hinted at it. The offensive line. Wow. It was very bad, to put it lightly. Jackson Carman was the only starter, and he was going up against second and third team players. He struggled, like really struggled. It was very bad for Jackson Carman. It was very bad for Isaiah Prince. It was very bad for Hakeem Adeniji. All these guys were really in the mix to be starters, whether it was last year, whether it's this season. And it really wasn't a good vote of confidence to see all three of those guys struggle, but mainly Carman, right? Because the other two guys, they aren't expected to have a starting spot. But Carman coming in, especially after the up and down turbulent season that he had last year, getting benched, trying to play through the injury, comes in and, he's got the vote of the confidence of the coaches and all of that, and then completely lays an egg against backup lineman. Let's just keep it a buck. Backup lineman for the Arizona Cardinals. And it really looked like a lot of the Bengals offensive line last year. And unfortunately, it's just kind of strange. I know we talked about offlines and you talked about kind of the interview afterwards, kind of short with his words, not really handling it like a pro. This kind of makes you think, is this what people kind of alluded to last year as far as the attitude? For me, it's open season because when Cordelle Volson came in, which was in, I believe, the fourth quarter, third quarter, late third, because Carman got an entire half and struggled the entire half, Cordelle Volson played way better than him. It was so bad, people on Twitter were talking about, let's go pick up Quentin Spain like at halftime. Like it was that bad. But Volson, I think, was
Spain put the bat signal up in the city of Cincinnati. It was so bad.
Facts, for sure. So it was very bad. I think that this puts us in a situation where we feel like Volson can be the guy. I'm still personally hoping that they bring in Spain. They haven't done it as we're recording this now on Tuesday. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I am interested to see Volson. And I just think with Jackson Carman missing practice, whether it's the elbow injury or whatever it is, I think right now Volson has the inside track. What were your thoughts on Carman's struggles and just the offensive line in general after that game?
I mean, it was Carman. I mean, you would like to see a lot better for Isaiah Prince, a guy that you just had, you went to the Super Bowl with. I thought he played really, really bad at spots. Carman was responsible for 4 pressures, ran into a guy on the screen, totally looked lost. Afterwards, acted like a child, comes back with a mysterious injury after practice on his elbow, doesn't practice or the first day back. Then he comes back, I think, the next day, and then he miraculously now he feels better. So then he jumps in there, but he starts off the day he isn't practicing. Like he is not the guy. Like he doesn't have it. I just don't think he has it. Like I think he'll always be. Like we might have to put him in the pack with Drew Sample of the world. Like that's not even fair to Drew Sample. But it's just like a guy that was drafted way higher than what they should have. Like Carman as a backup, you probably deal with some of that stuff as long as he's ready to play. But if you're on a Super Bowl contending, roster or team, that is big stuff because the 13-win teams, the 14-win teams, and these guys and we all have high expectations. You don't have flaws like that. Like you can't, like Joe Burrow can overcome a lot, but he can't overcome weaknesses at the end of a game or 1 or 2 bad reps or 4 pressures or whatever, because when the competition gets a lot better, everybody has to step up and put their game to the next level. We just talked about McPherson. Like, he's got to hit all his fit. There's going to be games where it's really tight. He's got to hit all his field goals, and you can't allow like any errors like that. And I think it really sucks because Carman is somebody that I think body profile wise, the measurables, everything adds up. It's just the mental. I don't think it's a part of like, he doesn't have that dog. He don't got that dog in him that we would want to see. And if you did, when you mess up, where's the frustration? Where's the fight? And that's the part that makes me. And then the mental errors let me know. And then you go and watch Lyle Collins like the next day. He's working out with Volson one-on-one. They're staying after practice. Like, Volson's got that dip in his mouth. He's just, with that Fargo accent. He's just out there ready to eat glass. They got what's your boy?
You talking about Lamont Gilliard?
No. Who's the dude that was out there eating wild boar yesterday?
Somebody was eating wild boar.
Yeah. Somebody in the comments tell me who was eating wild boar.
If you're in the comments, let us know who was eating that boar. I need to know who that was.
They got wild boar eaters out here. They got glass eaters on this team, And then, I know we dressed it up. Yeah, Logan Wilson was eating wild boar.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So we appreciate you, Dustin. But yeah, guys out there eating wild boar. These are ferocious dudes that really got that dog in them, and it's just not matching up. Like, everything about it is just not and you can't force it sometimes. So I would love for him to step it up and go crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're wearing the same uniform as us, I just feel like you should be rooting for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's what I want. But I want to see him fight for it, even if he doesn't win the spot. And going back to your Spain one, there were a bunch of cuts today, a lot of cornerback cuts that I saw too that went across my screen. So I don't know when you guys are going to receive this audio. If you're listening to the podcast, whatever, it may be more. So there are a lot of guys in like Jimmy Moreland, I saw got cut. There may be guys that get cut, because another thing we need to talk about is Cam Taylor-Britt, who actually did look really good. The Bengals posted him today, just walking, looking good. But he has a core injury, so we don't know how long he's out. So look for them to go and get at least two veteran cornerbacks. And then you're also, now looking at another vet guard that you always had to get. They'd never had a reserve right guard, in my opinion, because Gilliard and them, that wasn't going to cut it. In Adeniji, I don't trust them at guard. Like, I really don't. So, I just think that Spain is probably in the loop. But at the end of the day, I think that these cut downs are coming up really crazy. I think the 23rd, I posted the dates on my Twitter too, but the 23rd is a really big day as well, because you got multiple teams that will be dropping guys off. So I just think that, Spain is still in the mix, but if there's another guy, I think they're doing right by Spain and not bringing somebody else just to later cut Spain or something like that. And you got to kind of see. Yes, my man Carson in the comments said Lonnie Johnson. That, like, these are good guys in a in the cornerback room that I think that are in that Vernon Hargraves mode, but you're picking them up on the initial cuts this time. So I just think that's something we should all be checking for.
So one thing that's kind of been circulating just due to a tweet that kind of came out, which showed the Bengals kind of practicing some technique. Duke Mayweather didn't have the best thing to say about that. Some people in Bengals Nation are starting to wonder, like, is it because of the young guys struggling? Like, are we developing the young offensive line talent? It's hard to say. I think, I'm not an offensive line specialist. I can't tell you what techniques are correct. I don't think that that's the issue with Carman. I think, like Zim talked about earlier, maybe it's just kind of a mental thing. Like, it's not that we want Jackson Carman to do bad. But at the end of the day, like, we're cheering for him, and we have to see the results on the field, and we have to see that mental fortitude. But I think this is something that we do need to monitor. If it does affect more than just the Jackson Carmans of the world, if it does affect the offensive line, I think we'll have to see. But until we get to the season, it's kind of hard to say right now, especially since the Bengals didn't have any of their starters on the offensive line. And so we'll have to see how the starters do. If the starters do well, I think that it's fine. If not, then I think that's when you probably start to at least consider it. But moving forward,
You know that drill that they were doing though. You know that drill is used like this is one thing as an offensive lineman. I think a lot of people were knocking that because you could potentially get hurt. That is a drill from a strength and conditioning standpoint that is very normal. So I think a lot of people were making a lot of. I don't know about catching a medicine ball on it, but I've had to do that before when I broke my ankle.
Yeah, so I had to do that too for like
I had to do the same thing. So like a lot of people was like, why would you do that? Because it's not a natural thing. But I think it does strengthen some different elements of it. I'm not a strength and conditioning coach. I know people are very practical on it or whatever, but I just or very critical on it. But I just thought that's a strength and conditioning thing that I've seen for a very long time.
Apparently, Lonnie Johnson was picked up by the Titans today. So shout out to Dustin and my man Nandon on that. Appreciate that. And if you guys are watching and you want to send us a comment, please be sure to write in the live chat. Please be sure to hit that subscribe button. You got 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you're not subscribed, you're a Steelers fan. Like I'm just gonna be honest with you. But if you guys are following, please be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. We appreciate that. Share that. We also have, if you're listening to this in your car, we're available in the Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcast, Spotify, Stitcher, all of that. But as Zim said, CTB did look good today. He came into camp with a smile on his face. And speaking of smiles, Zim, talk to us about our friends over at Pierce Dental Group.
Pierce Dental Group is a partner that we've been working with for quite some time now. They're located downtown in Cincinnati, been a part of Cincinnati in this area for 30 plus years. They relocated to a new location downtown, Fountain Square, so you can be in the mix, get to where you need to be at the same time, work on your smile. My guy, Dr. Troy Pierce is one of the best. Awesome dude, awesome people, awesome results. Come and get your smile ready today. Go to Pierce Dental Group online, Twitter, Instagram, and check them out. Get a free consultation, even if you're not in the Cincinnati area, which is very important. That's how I got my free consultation. I know a certain Bengal that got a brand new diamond on his tooth recently, and it looks really, really good. He got it done at Pierce Dental Group. I think you could go there too, and at the very least, get your smile together and make sure that you're smiling like this.
For sure.
Or maybe something like that.
If you need to see the visuals, check them out on social media. I believe Dr. Troy Pierce is on Instagram. They're on Instagram and I believe Twitter, and they have some really good illustrations and videos of the process. So if you're wondering what the quality looks like, head over there, check them out. Let them know Ace and Zim sent you. Zim, we got to talk about the biggest thing that happened this week. Joey B is back, bro. It's crazy. I mean, we figured it was going to happen, right? Because we saw him running in warmups before that preseason game. So you had to think there was a possibility. But the way that this dude showed up and was slinging like he didn't even miss a practice was kind of crazy. Like the legend of Joe Burrow, like anytime Joe Burrow does anything, it's like amazing and it's just headlines. It's like he could do anything and pretty much make a headline, but you really feel, and I feel like you really feel comfortable because now he's getting back in there, getting back into the rhythm. Probably isn't playing in the preseason, but that's not what we're worried about at this point. We just want him to get settled into the offense with the players, which I don't feel like, missing a few weeks was really going to mess that up. But now he's able to be out there and lead the offense. And now we know if the defense is actually winning against the offense, that it's legit. I felt like for the longest, I had to kind of take that with a grain of salt because I'm like, all right, is the defense winning or is it just that Brandon Allen isn't on the same page with the receivers and vice versa? So now we know with Joey B there, we have a real test for our corners, for our defense to see where they're really at. And now this offense can thrive. Also, I'm interested to see, does Chris Evans get snaps with Joey B? Is Joey B looking for him? Like, how often is Hayden Hurst going to get hit up? Zen, what does this mean to you with Burrow returning to the Bengals at practice?
Hey, I'm back on my savage mode because my man number 9 is, hey, we're back. I don't even, you know what I'm saying? I've been going crazy since he got back and telling everybody, like, don't it feel like.
And hold on. Let people know where they can get the Savage Mode shirts, because we got a lot of comments and a lot of people talking about them. And if you're watching us on YouTube, you can see this. And if you're hearing this, you need to be watching us on YouTube live Tuesdays and Thursdays, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Talk to them about the shirt, bro.
Savage Mode, bro. We on a new revenge tour. I know a lot of people say, why y'all? What they told me, why you want revenge and y'all the defending conference champ? I'm like, you still ain't woke and y'all not ready. So like at the end of the day, I feel like the respect hasn't been given. We don't need validation from y'all, but we going into Savage Mode this year. Anybody that got away from us, anybody that survived Joe Burrow, when you get this shirt, on this shirt, there are on my knife is blood dripping on here. And all of the ops that we put in the dirt last season, all the ones that are packed out and smoked out at every stadium, I inscribed them right here on this knife right here. And I'm going to add more this season coming up. So Savage Mode, zimhude.com. Check that out. Always make sure y'all go to newstripecity.com too. Next show is on Thursday. You got to wear your joint now. But yes, we going crazy. Savage Mode. Wait till y'all see the back of it. Got tour dates on there or whatever. So we on tour with it and we putting everybody on notice. Zimhude.com. But
and
going
if
back
you guys
to Joe,
listening, we're giving one away tonight, right?
We're giving away a Wincinnati shirt tonight.
Cincinnati shirt tonight.
Yeah, so in about 10 minutes, I'm going to announce a lucky winner that is in the comments. So if you have a sister, a friend, or mom, or dad, an aunt, whatever, tell them to come into the comments because I'm just randomly going to pick somebody to get a Cincinnati shirt. We're going to do that probably about 10 minutes or so. Joey B, doesn't it feel like he's been back for like 2 weeks or something like that? And he's only been in for a couple of, and the reason why I feel like that is because every time I go on Twitter, Bengals is just showing lasers. Like, who does that? Like, who gets a organ? I know it's a useless organ. Who gets it removed? And then they just come back. Tyler Boyd died. The Chris Evans died. The Jamar Chase died. Like, he's just going all around. The T. Higgins one in the back of the end zone. Like, these are not regular throws. He was just sitting there the whole time, running in his cart, comes out of nowhere and just starts throwing crazy. And it feels like he's been back for a while. It's just been a couple of days, dog. Like, dog, I cannot wait. Let me ask you this. Don't you feel like it's almost like it's all of our boy and we like, man, this our dog. Like it's almost like you ever had somebody that play like AAU basketball or something, but everybody ain't seen him yet. And you like, bro, you got to come to my bro game and check him out. Because you know that these people really haven't seen Joe. Fact. They really haven't. They think that they think that the media has like hyped them up or something like that. Like the media, if they had seen the games, they would have known like the media hasn't even done enough. It's about to be Burrow mania this year for real. Really like primetime games. Like, bro, go look at y'all. I'm not even gonna talk down on them. Whatever. There's certain other guys that they cape for very hard on here. If you go watch their games, they don't really look like Joe's in the throws, the scrambling ability, the evading sacks and all that stuff. You're getting so many elements of the prototypical quarterback, you know, and I know everybody has their preference. I just think the world is about to really, really fall in love. If they thought they was rooting for us in the Super Bowl, because you know how that kind of happened, I think they really going to love them now. And I think a lot of people that think that we're just being really, really optimistic, I think by the second primetime game, after that second primetime game is over, they're going to say, oh, yeah, this is different. He just moves different. Like, you know, you can't zero me. He's one of the rare quarterbacks that actually kind of talk and then back it up a little bit.
Backs it up. Can walk it at the same time.
That's why we put knives in him. It's savage mode time. Like, I'm not playing around with these people no more. We've been killing them on Twitter all season. We've been killing them all over the place. Stephen A. Smith of the world, double backtracking. You saw that today? He talking about some, oh yeah, they're not going to go on a deep run, right? Then he follows up with, oh yeah, they're going to lose. They're going to lose in the AFC Championship game. Like, is it at a deep run?
And they were doing that with a graphic with a picture of the old Bengals jerseys. That was crazy. That was just insane. But
all of this stuff is wild, bro.
Speaking of getting cooked, let's toss it to our friend of the show, Midwest Best Barbecue. They've got a new flavored wing, sour cream and onion. Please be sure to check them out. 669 Loveland Court. 669 Justice Court in Loveland, Ohio, just like the man Drew Plitt. Let's go ahead and get into that commercial.
Plitterous.
Wings, and we got you with them on our wings. On our wings, they tell me that them on our wings will make you do the gritty. Them on our wings will make you do the gritty. On our wings, on our wings. Come and get them on our wings. On our wings, who they gonna beat them on our wings. On our wings, and we got you with them on our wings. On our wings, they tell me that them on our wings will make you do the gritty. Them on our wings will make you do the gritty.
I swear, man, I feel like that song could go triple platinum on its own. Shout out to Tim. Shout out to those guys over at Midwest Best Barbecue. But Zim, I want us to really get into the Bengals depth chart. I know it's kind of hard to see this. I'm going to try to make this larger. Unfortunately, I might not be able to. But let's talk about the Bengals depth chart that was released today. It's an updated chart from what I can see here. It looks like a lot of – hold on 1 second. Let me see. I don't know why it's so small, but anyways, let's go through.
Let me ask you this: is anything catching you off guard, or anything that a little unexpected for you?
I'm
sorry if y'all hear my cat in the background.
One thing that was
like
unexpected for me, at least, was I thought that with the game that Jeff Gunter had, that he would have separated himself and kind of been potentially in that second mode. Now, with that being said, obviously you got Joseph Osai there, but I thought that he just did a lot more to be kind of in a higher position than where he was. I don't know if this is in order with them in the third row. I'm assuming that it is, because when I look at left defensive end, I see our guy Khalid Kareem, then I see Raymond Johnson. So I'm assuming that the same would be for the right defensive ends. And there I see Noah Spence actually listed over Jeff Gunter, which that kind of threw me off.
Yeah, that throws me off. Noah Spence. Is that just seniority because he was there last year?
I think so. Tyson Anderson to not be listed, at the top. He's listed under Brandon Wilson. That kind of threw me off there a little bit. When I look at the offensive line, I believe someone was saying Jackson Carman is still listed as a starter. That kind of threw me off, especially given the game that we just saw, and especially given that Volson's getting a lot of reps and stuff like that. That kind of threw me off. Obviously, I think they haven't shown this, but Ben Brown is listed, but obviously he had a season-ending injury. So Ben Brown, that was a guy that I was looking forward to, but he's out of the mix there. And then when you look at Pryor, he's actually listed as one of the top receivers, even though he is one of the third one. So that kind of stood out to me. Did anything stand out to you? Because our man Chris Evans is still RB3 on this depth chart.
I'm not gonna lie to the viewers. I haven't seen it. I was counting on you to have it on the screen. I haven't seen it like that. The Noah Spence joint just jumped out to me that you just said. The Chris Evans. I mean, like everything for the most part was like where I thought it was just off of what you said, but I haven't seen it printed out.
Yeah. It's not anything too crazy. I pretty much mentioned most of them. A lot of people didn't. The other thing is Kevin Huber is still listed in front of Drew Chrisman. If you were following that, if you're following the long snapper battle between Cal and Clark Harris, Clark is still listed as the starter there. But nothing really.
I wouldn't read into it too much until we get to the season, because there's a lot of politics and stuff with this stuff too. Sometimes coaches are trying to push somebody to kind of go a little bit harder for it and stuff too. So right. I would factor that in as well.
Right. Yeah, I think like Zim is saying, when you see right now that Carman is still starting on it, you got to take that with a grain of salt, especially with what we've seen in practice and thus far, especially with Carman having an injury and working through that. But someone just said, Noah just said he just subscribed. Does that mean Zim does the gritty on cam? We're going to have to get to like maybe 5,000 subscribers
Facts.
until me and Zim have to do the gritty. So if you guys want that,
Bro, if we get to 5,000, they could pick the dance that they want. It could be
if we get to 5,000, y'all can pick the dance that we
you can pick whatever dance I could do. You can make me. I'll do the hustle.
But if you're also looking to book a trip to any of the road games this season, please be sure to sign up with our fans of Cincy. They do all of the planning. They do all of the travel coordination and all of that. All you need is a $200 deposit, and you can get your stuff locked in today. So don't be that guy that's missing the Dallas game. Don't be that guy that's missing the New Orleans game. Definitely check in with them. You're going to get tickets, whether it's transportation, a hotel, tickets to the game. You're also going to have your own meal at the tailgate that they have at these games. So definitely be sure to tap in with them as well. Zim, was there anything that you wanted to say before we get out of here?
We got to give away one lucky winner for a Cincinnati shirt. I hope I hope this guy has like a Twitter or Instagram. He could like DM me or something right now. The winner that I'm going to pick for a free Cincinnati shirt is going to be Dustin Begley. I feel like he helped me out throughout the show, gave me some notes that Ryan would have gave me. And then he said the song gets stuck in his head every day. So we want to big you up for really, really, getting down with the Uno Wings song. I know Midwest Best Barbecue appreciates that. So Dustin, hit me up, get your free shirt.
Yeah. Hit us up on the Wincinnati Pod Twitter. It's the Wincinnati Pod on Twitter. Also, you can follow Zim at Zimhude. You can follow me at New Stripe City. But tap in with us. We got a lot of content planning for you guys. We're going to have some guys out this week, so you will see me solo on Thursday. But be sure to tap in Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then we'll be back to our regular schedule next week. Tuesdays and Thursdays, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you guys for listening and tuning in to the Wincinnati Podcast.
Hello, world.
Yes.
Hello, world. We got a special show, as always. TJ Houshmandzadeh, Jimmy Chase, Coach Jimmy Burrow.
Exciting time to be a Bengals
How do
fan.
you balance being a professional athlete and family obligation? These are top 5 Bengals of all time.
All time? Yeah. Shock the world.